gratified to receive national and international feedback about the quality of the service, and Vera related to me recently about a delegate from Vietnam who said, is this the best service in Melbourne? Yes. Is this the best service in Victoria? Yes. Is this the best service in Australia? Yes. Well, it makes it the best service in the world. Which kind of reminded me of, little children who, I'm part of Collingwood, and I'm part of Melbourne, I'm part of the world, I'm part of the universe. So, I think that's pretty good. Anyway, I would like to thank greatly the Minister, the State Government and DHS for their support in bringing this great project and this great service to fruition. In a little while we'll hear from our local member and Minister for our Housing, Richard Wynne. But before I get to that, I just want to formally acknowledge the collaboration between North Yarra Community Health and the Department of Human Services in bringing this to fruition. The regional staff in particular have been unfailingly helpful and committed to bringing about a successful outcome. I also want to thank in her absence Minister Neville, who allocated the funding of over $650,000, which made this refurbishment possible. And I'd like to now hand over to Chris Hardy. Chris has been the manager of Drug Safety Services for over 10 years, and before that was a clinic nurse at the Collingwood Centre and the coordinator of the secondary needle and syringe program. It's largely due to Chris's drive and initiative and commitment that we have this fabulous service here today. And I think Chris and her team epitomise a quote by Henry Ford. It says, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. I usually am.
Good morning and welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to our grand opening of InnerSpace. Thank you, Joe, for your kind introduction. As Joe said, I've been around for a long time, some may say a little too long, but my involvement with needle and syringe programs goes back over 20 years. For those of you who are not so familiar with our services, we were located around the corner in Smith Street. We had two shop fronts. 348 Smith Street was what was known as M.I.N.E, Melbourne Inner City Needle Exchange. It was a primary needle and syringe program that was initially opened by VivAIDS, and Collingwood Community Health Centre, as we were, took that over about 15 years ago. Next door was opened about 6 years ago by the present Minister, which is very appropriate. Next door was a primary healthcare facility for people who inject drugs, and it was funded through Municipal Drug Strategy. We're occasionally described by other people as working at the coalface, and I can tell you that some days my staff and I feel like we're down a very deep mine. Now I can feel that this building is the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just changed the way we work, the services we operate, the staff being comfortable, the clients being comfortable enormously. The cycle of addiction is often a long and complicated and fairly difficult road for a lot of our clients. And having a service like this, I think, has just made all the difference. I'd like to feel that our clients feel that that we respect them and that they deserve a building like this. And I think gradually they're getting used to that idea. I started out down at Collingwood many years ago. We had a project for young homeless people, which was called the Easy Street Project. I still have one client who accesses this service that came to that service. So I've known her for about 20 years, and it brings me a great deal of joy every time I see her and every time she comes into the service. Most of the other clients that attended that service are now dead. So to see someone who survived, it is quite incredible. Finally, I'd just like to say that I think it's extremely fitting that Minister Wynne's opening InnerSpace today. Richard actually opened next door for us about 6 or 7 years ago, and prior to that he was also involved. I remember he made his office in Richmond and his staff and his photocopier available to groups of us who were trying to work out how to spend the Municipal Drug Strategy money. So I think it's absolutely appropriate that he'll be opening the service today. Just finally, I'd like to thank my clients. We don't please everyone all the time. It's not a bed of roses, but I certainly think the majority of our clients really gig us. So thank you.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to be here today. Can I start firstly by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're having this really wonderful celebration, the Wurundjeri people. Pay my respects to elders past and present. Joe, thanks very much for the opportunity to be here. Vera asked me a little while ago to whether I could open the facility because it was an important part of the journey that we've been on in terms of how the state government has educated itself as much as anything else about the question of drugs and how you deal with drug issues in our community. And it's a journey for me that has gone on for, well, the whole time I've been here as a Member of Parliament, which is really coming up for 11 years. So people like Brian, who was the initial chair of the Yarra Drugs and Health Board, and I want to say a little bit about that in a minute, and the board of the Community Health Centre, and Chris, of course, from her previous life and now this life here, have really been a part of a journey along with Peter and all Nick and all sorts of other people who are here today, who've been so much a part of, I think, educating government about what the issues are and how you ought to go about responding in a community context to the issues confronted by people with drug problems. The Next Door project opened 6 years ago around the corner, and I'm reminded of that opening because a issue by any measure, she's still here somewhere. By any measure, the next door around the corner in Smith Street was a pretty grungy building. It was a
cupboard.
It was a cupboard. I mean, you walked in, you said, and we were all pretty proud of it. And you walked in, and I said, "Gee, this is pretty good, isn't it?" I opened the cupboard. No, but it was. I mean, it was. I mean, it was a pretty. It was small. It was. Yeah. I mean, it was the start. It was next door. It was the start. It was next door to mine, and it was the start of another stage for us all. And it was, I mean, honestly, it was quite controversial at the time. People going, "Hang on, what's all this about? Needle exchange, medical people. What's this all about?" And it had a bit of a journey, but it was a journey that I think that was important for us to take because it brought people again along with us. And then the opportunity came after some considerable period of time, and again some community debate and community concern about moving around the corner here to this wonderful building that we've got here. For those people, Vera, who say, "Is this the best facility in Victoria or Australia?" Well, I mean, we don't need to doubt that question. I mean, the answer simply is yes. And in every respect, I think that when you go around the country and you talk to other people about what they're doing, so many people look to Victoria in every respect as to how we are providing our services. And the key, in my view, the ultimate key to this is the link to the community. Because when you link to the community and you sustain yourself and you inform yourself through the community, you cannot go wrong, because you will ultimately always be responding to what the need is. So today is a wonderful day. It's a day for celebration for all of us. GISU, we validate you. We validate you. We validate all the clients who come to this wonderful facility. And I don't know, Chris, how I'm supposed to open this centre. Is there a? We're not cutting the ribbon. Well, as far as I'm concerned, we declare it open. Thanks very much.